What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm Corey Ensko, here with the one and only David Gussler. How you doing, David?
Good, man. I'm traveling, David Gussler, right now. So
Traveling.
I'm on the road.
Reporting live from a hotel room somewhere.
Exactly. On the road again. There you go.
They all look the same, so he could be literally anywhere, and we wouldn't know the difference. It's all fine. So we somehow the season starts this weekend.
Does not feel like it, dude. We were talking before the show. We're like, oh, guess we have a game in like 6 days. Doesn't feel like it, but we do.
I don't know. This season really snuck up on me. More so than I think any season in the past. If I feel like it also is just starting a little bit earlier, I'd have to look back and know that for sure. I feel like it's usually like the next weekend in February, but even then, like something about this year, everything completely snuck up on me to the point where I was like, wait a minute, like soccer's here. We are fully back in it, and we are ready to roll. So I don't know what that I'm usually looking forward to it and counting down the days, and I am still very much looking forward to it, but I was like happily surprised to be like, oh wait, you get real soccer this weekend, and I'm very excited to watch it. So
I think you're right though. I think the season, because usually it's my wife's birthday, and I'm always trying to juggle my wife's birthday and first soccer game match, and her birthday's not till the week after, so usually it's before the game. But
I'm imagining this is like a World Cup schedule type of shifting thing they're trying to do with everything going on this summer. So
it's an MLS thing. It's just MLS. It's fine.
And before too long, the season won't be starting in February. It won't matter anymore. So
there you go.
We've thrown that off. But since the season is starting, we don't have Matt Swift this week. It is his birthday today. So happy birthday to Matt. Yesterday when you're listening to it, but today when we're recording. So obviously he had better things to do than to hang out with us, which is very fair. But we still wanted to get something out because we need to do a little bit of a season preview of sorts. And we hope to have, I say hope because as you saw this offseason, our plans and what actually happens are not always the same thing. So we have some hopes to get back into doing kind of a match preview episode later in the week to get ready for the St. Louis match on Saturday, away match. So we won't talk a ton about that right now, but we did want to kind of look at, the rest of the preseason, all of the off season, and kind of preview what we're expecting in this upcoming season a little bit here. And then we got a bunch of questions from our Discord that we're going to pull up here a little bit and read as well too. So we're gonna dive right into it because it's game time. So the first thing that we wanted to touch on that I didn't get to talk about last week is the new kit. And so also because when y'all recorded last week, I mean, it had been leaked, but like it had not been officially released.
Right.
When y'all recorded. So the new kit is officially out. David, I know you shared this a little bit. Now that you've seen the actual official video and the pictures, I don't know if you've seen it in person yet, but just actually seeing it fully released, have your thoughts changed? Do you have any additional thoughts you want to share on it? Then I can share some of mine as well.
So I have not seen it in person yet, so I will withhold full judgment until I do that. But seeing it, like, it's fine. Like it's not a terrible kit, but it's also not like my favorite. Like it is. I'm also having self-restraint here because I share with Swift that like I've learned my lesson of buying full price kits. I'm just gonna wait like 6 months and then buy it when it's like half price. But no, I think it's fine. Like it is kind of very similar to the first kit, which is, I guess, like on brand. Like it kind of keeps with the theme a little bit. So it was nice. The etching around the sleeve and the neck's okay. I like the blue stripes on the shoulders a little bit. You know what I mean? So like it's not bad. It's not a bad kit. It's just I think we've also got very spoiled with like very unique kits and thinking outside the box. Like as much as crap as I gave it, the purple kit was unique. Like it had crowns inlaid into
unique
it.
Doesn't always mean good. It just means
no,
unique.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's unique, right? You had the purple kit. You've had the Fortress kit. What was the Explorer kit?
Yeah.
You've had the Lightning kit. Fortress kit. Like these are all like outside the box, but still uniquely Charlotte in some way or fashion. This one is still uniquely Charlotte, but it's also I don't know. It didn't push the envelope. It's kind of like the original day zero
Right.
jersey. It's there. I think it's a classic look. I think it'll grow on people, and I think people will appreciate it. But it's also not one that I'm just like, oh man, it's my favorite kit. You know?
Yeah. I think you make a lot of really good points that I agree with. My initial reaction was like, yeah, this is fine. Like it's it's good. I do think, to your point, mostly where we're spoiled was with the Explore kit, which was the last blue kit, right? Right.
Correct.
That's Explore. I get the names mixed up.
Yeah.
Um, because I think if you think about it, like if you follow an English Premier League team or whatever, and you look, and I think Matt even did this in the Discord at some point. He like put up like Arsenal's like last 20
Oh yeah, yeah.
primary kits, and they're all basically the same thing. Like, because that's what it is. Like your primary kit should be pretty recognizable. So like when you turn on the TV, you recognize like, oh, that's Charlotte playing. And so like, yeah, like it's a very basic, just that plain blue with the white sleeves and shoulders, very similar to that initial one we had. And I think that's fine. Like that's going to be the primary look we have. And then with the secondary kit or the third kit, when you get it, that's when you do some weird stuff where you go purple, where you go
You do
black with the
weird stuff.
secondary logo. Like that's where you can play around with some things.
Yeah.
But the main one should be like, this is what our look is. And it's the blue with the white sleeves. And that is what it is. And like, yeah, it's a little boring. And like, they might do small iterations on it. But like, that's what your primary kit is. And I think that's okay. Again, I think where we were spoiled was the last primary kit was not that. It was a very cool with like the
but it still spoke
and
Charlotte though, or like Carolina. Like it had the blue, it had the white,
it had the blue, but it was a very different design. I think more, and you might still get some. I'm sure we'll still get some of those in the future but I think more often than not, I know, but I think more often than not, like the primary blue is not going to be a massive change from year to year. It's going to be just iterations on the same idea. And then that secondary one, like once we finish with the Fortress this year,
sure,
I expect something different and interesting with those. So I think it's okay if you're like, I mean, again, I'm no one here, like I'm a Stoke supporter as far as England goes. It's always red and white stripes. It's like a variation on red and white stripes, but that's their primary kit. Like it always is going to be, because that's what they're, I mean, there's like 10 other clubs that also have red and white stripes, but whatever. like that's the that's the recognizable thing. And so like you don't change it much. You like add a collar, you tweak some of the way the stripes work, you play with the crest, sure. Like you do some little things. But I think it's okay to just kind of iterate back on here's the main blue kit. And like I mean, I think I haven't seen it in person yet. I didn't like some of the initial images I saw of the crown kind of motif around the collar and sleeves, but the more pictures I saw when it was actually officially released, I like the way it looks, and the stripes on the shoulder being blue instead of black is
sure.
Again, a little change. But again, I wasn't expecting. It's nothing like wow, that's amazing. But like it's solid. It'll look good, and it'll be recognizable as like this is Charlotte when they step on the field. So I think that's fine.
Yeah. Just a side note, when I've read online, Adidas keeps shrinking the sizes a little bit, so don't be caught off guard, Corey, when I fit the dad bod.
I'm actually okay with that, because this here's my gripe is that the first season I was one size. I mean, it doesn't matter what size people like. I was an XL, right? And it was perfect fit. Like it was a little bit like it would just like fit perfectly down. I was like, great, I'm in. And then I guess the next jersey that would have come out would have been was it Explorer or Purple?
Purple was next.
It was Purple. Explorer. Purple was the next one. And so I bought the same size in Purple, and it did not fit. It hugged. It hugged the curves. And that was not okay. And so now I've had to go up. But now I'm like, I was in that middle size where it's like a 2X just hangs off of me, and the X was hugging the curves. And so I didn't have a good. So if they make that 2X a little smaller, as long as they don't keep doing it, but like make it a little more fitted, I'll be okay with that. So that's good.
So I think that's it's gonna help solidify for me too. Like I'm gonna go try it on in person first before I. buy another kit. So
no, I'm 100% the guy in the store, like ripping off the like whatever jacket I'm wearing and throwing it on and seeing how it fits. I have no shame. I'm going to make sure it fits before I pay whatever stupid amount of money I'm about to pay, which I'm totally going to do this week. So just
hey, you're not going to pull at me and wait like 6 months and
no, it's a good idea though. It is a really good idea.
I'm telling you, man.
But check
out the lightning kits at the at like Fanatic store. They're like $25 right now. So I've learned my lesson. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait. So.
I'm a sucker, man. Like I need to have it immediately, and also because, and as you know, I know other people on our Discord and listeners also I wear the jersey
that
the team wears on game day. And so if I don't have the newest one, like what am I supposed to
just put the year one jersey on and you'll blend right in, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's very true. There we go. But no, I'm excited to see it in person. Again, I think it'll be kind of fun to have our two color. Like I hope we see more of the black this year for one.
Yeah.
Because we did not wear it much last season, especially at home. And I know again, it's the blue's the primary, but I'd love to see more of the black in this last season. And then I think that juxtaposed with the blue, I think it's a solid lineup. So go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say it always helps when you're a professional footballer wearing a jersey. It makes it look a lot nicer when you're when you see that versus random dude from a Dick's Sporting Goods fitting it on and posting it on Reddit. So.
Very true. Very true. You're not wrong. All right, let's move into a little bit of, we're going to kind of recap just the rest of preseason. I think y'all talked a little bit about it last episode, but Coachella finally wrapped up. In case you didn't watch any of it, Charlotte played San Jose, lost 1-0 in the first match, beat Minnesota United 2-1 in the second match, and then wrapped it all up. Oh, wait, no, it was only Phoenix. 2 matches, wasn't it?
They played Phoenix. As a second
I knew there was
match,
one I was missing somewhere.
They beat Phoenix too.
They beat Phoenix, but let's mostly focus on the Minnesota United one because that was the final one on Valentine's Day. So I don't know if you kind of took a look at anything we saw, but I wanted to kind of focus first on the starting lineup. So let me pull this back up. I had it up earlier, and I got to scroll a little bit. But I'm curious about is if we think this is how close we think this is to Saturday's starting 11. So I'll just kind of read down it. Kalina, Privet, Ream, Schnegg, Byrne, Westwood, De La Torre, Biel, Zaha, Abada, Toklamati. This kind of gets into some of our season preview stuff a little bit too. So I'm kind of crossing streams as far as our I really shouldn't say crossing streams in a podcast, but I'm probably not going to edit that out.
Love it. Just keep it. It's great.
But we're gonna talk about starting 11 a little bit. But so let me frame it this way: what did you think about that starting 11 rolling out there?
I think on paper it's not surprising. I think it's the last game before the official first game. So I think you're going to get as close to a starting 11 as you possibly can. I know you probably can't pull up, not to put you on the spot as I talk, but last year's final Coachella game, and just curious what that starting 11 would look like. But on paper, I think that's what we're going to be pretty close to. I know we've had a few quote unquote knocks or some tightness on some players, especially on the back line. So I'm curious how serious some of those, quote unquote knocks are, and if that changes the back lineup ever so slightly heading into St. Louis this next week. But I think midfield and up, except for I think you swap Abada and Vargas between the two. I think that's what you'll see there. I think you see a Westwood, De La Torre, then you see Pep in midfield, and I think you see Zaha and Toklamati up top with Vargas. So I think it's pretty darn close. I think defensively is where I just have some question marks a little bit. Like, do you see Kessler start? Do you see Privet start? Do you see Toffolo go back out there with some tightness? So that's the only thing I would just have question marks on. But I think from the 6 up is where that's what we go into St. Louis with.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk more about I think more starting 11 thoughts as we go in. But yeah, I think that defense, a lot of that has to do with people picking up some knocks and getting some rest in preseason. So I think It'll be interesting to see kind of how things go from there. But I do think you're right. I think that's pretty close to what we're going to see day one. And I think that makes sense. Is like, at least to start, that final warm up match, you want to see pretty close to who you plan to roll out that final match, or that first match of the season, just to give them that kind of one run together before the season really kicks off. So I expect to see something pretty similar, but we can get a little more into the starting lineup in a minute. I did want to shout out the two things that jumped out to me, and if there's anything else you want to add as well from that match, is one, if you follow the team on any social media, the bicycle kick from Tokomati was pretty awesome to see. So love to see that. And then the other thing that jumped out to me was Abada with both assists there. So good to see him getting involved and playing well. I know there's a lot of kind of talk about kind of him and his role in this team and how long he is for this squad. But at least seeing him get some assists there was nice to see. So any other takeaways, anything jump out to you from that final match?
I think, just comparing last year's preseason to this year's preseason, it's nice to see Zaha kind of more in form heading into this year. He's much more active, much more acclimated with the team. Seems to know what runs are being done. Is more confident coming into this. You know what I mean? He's not trying to just cram it right into the box himself. During that, there's been some passes that he's made that's been good. So I think for me, that's a big takeaway versus last year, is that Zaha's played a full season now for us. He's had a full off season with us. He's familiar with Dean and the players around him. So he's coming into his own much faster this year, I think. Fingers crossed that that's the case. So that stood out to me. Tokomati being in form already is exciting. Think about it, last year at this time, you had Patrick up top starting. Tokomati was kind of that unknown. Like, where is he going to fit? Is he going to be a winger? Is he going to be a backup to Patrick? Like, what do we know with him?
Yeah.
And, we didn't really know what to see, right? And here he is scoring 2 goals, almost had a third against Minnesota, already scored a few goals in preseason. It's super exciting to see what he's going to be able to bring to the table this year. And then back line, I'm going to be interested to see, the goal that we let in was kind of playing a higher press. So what that speed looks like now at center back, because, Ream is not the youngest guy in the entire world, and Privet's not the fastest guy in the world. So it'll be interesting to see, do we change tactics? Are we adjusting to games based off of that? Do we have like a more defensive line? Or are we doing a higher press? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Dean rolls out with the lineup that we have now.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. To your point, like, what I love about the attack is we didn't really add anything in the offseason to the attack, but what's nice is that it's solid from the end of last year. Like, it's the same, other than BL being out with injury for so much at the end of last season. Like, you've got players who have played together a lot, know each other. There's not that learning curve that we have had, last season or in past seasons. So I was excited to see that. I think the opposite is the case in the defensive side, and that'll be really interesting to see as things come along. But it's excited to see, Zaha and Vargas and Abada and Tokomati and BL getting more time together and feeling more comfortable with each other from day one, and how that might help the attack. So
it's almost the opposite too, because if you think about going into last year, we were kind of the unknown on the attack, but defensively we were kind of sound and excited for. But it's weird too, because last year, the way that we ended our season, I felt like we couldn't score a goal to save our life on us in open play, right? So it's good to see the offense already clicking, and then the defense hopefully can maintain the status quo heading into the start of the season.
Yeah, David's side's really interesting. So let's get into more about the starting lineup. I guess I'll ask this 2 ways, and I think you've kind of answered it. I think you've kind of answered the first question, but I'm kind of thinking about 2 different things. One, what does the starting lineup look on Saturday? And then, taking any kind of injuries and knocks out of the equation, what do you think the best starting lineup for this squad is? So I think you kind of already answered the one for for Saturday, which is basically taking what we have here from the last preseason match, swapping in Vargas for Abada.
And I think hopefully Toffolo's not hurt too bad.
Yeah.
Or like has too much tightness, because I think you start him then at left back, and then David comes in as that relief, especially if Toffolo's still trying to nurse it back potentially and isn't going to play 90 minutes. Then you have an MLS veteran and David being able to be at left back there for us. I think that starting 11 in St. Louis is that.
Yeah, and so like best 11, like I imagine, unless you're going to throw something out at me, is the only other possible change the center back role? Like who in your, who in your best 11? What's the center back pairing, assuming everybody's healthy?
I mean, I guess like on paper for what we have right now, I think the back line is going to be, me personally speaking, is Toffolo, Ream, Privet, Byrne. Because I don't know what we're getting in Kessler, to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and act like I watched a bunch of St. Louis games. But St. Louis was not like world burners the past few years. And, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you also don't sign a player like that and bring him on just for depth piece. Hopefully not. But I mean, so I think you could swap Kessler or Privet, to be honest with you, depending on the week. Not saying to do that all the time, but ask me next week after we play St. Louis who I think the starting 11 is and who's the best 11 on paper. But I think midfield, as much as I love Brandt, I want Brandt to play every minute possible. I think just based off of what we've seen in preseason, I think you see Luca De La Torre start there in that kind of that box to box midfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may even see like Pep go out wide and then Brandt come in the field and kind of play that box to box, or maybe you rest Westwood a little bit. You bring Brandt on as the 6. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So the good news is we keep elevating the talent we have. We're not sitting here talking about a Jabril Gianni starting at the 8. Now we're talking about a Luca De La Torre starting at the 8 with Brandt coming in to substitute versus, Brandt starting with Jabril Gianni starting with Ashley Westwood.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think to your point, I agree that I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Privet get, even if everybody's healthy, Privet get the start.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. I also expect that like Kessler will probably work his way into that role.
I agree.
Because I mean, this is not a knock on Privet, but like I just, it worked for a season in magical ways, and we also saw it start to not work as well. And so I think he can't. I think there needs to be a better answer there. So I hope that Kessler is that guy. I mean, there's also kind of the rumors around Morrison Ajiman. I'm so bad at saying that name, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. But him coming up from Crown Legacy possibly to be thrown into that defensive mix as well. So there's some other options, but I kind of think we're going to see kind of Privet and Kessler go back and forth a little bit in that role, and maybe just whoever's looking best in training or whoever's kind of playing well in the matches we'll see in that spot. But
you mean you don't want to do the first preseason game and throw Jabril Gianni at center back? You don't want to do that? Just playing. Just playing. Please don't. Please, no. Emergency situation only, please. That'd be great.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I feel good about, and to your point, the flexibility in the midfield I think is great. Like we keep, like you said, adding talent and also flexibility within that to where you can have some pieces you can move around if BL can't play, or like I think y'all were talking about last episode, if we get light on the wings and need to move BL out to a wing, and then you can kind of reshape the midfield, and you've got Brandt that can come in and play some roles. Just like I think there's a lot of good flexibility there. I feel good about the attack. The back line is what worries me. It's not like it's looks terrible, but it's just the unknown. Exactly. Yeah. That's really what it is. We haven't seen a lot of these players. It's a lot of a few new faces. So it'd be very interesting to see there as well.
It's what happens when you get spoiled, when you have a really solid center back and you just, damn you, Adilson Malanda. Enjoy your second place in championship. Yeah, it's good.
All right. So we're going to move on to some other questions. I'm going to I'm trying to decide how I want to jump around. All right, let's do this. We have a couple superlatives.
There you go.
I'm just trying to figure out the best answer. So here's the first one I'll ask you is, what do you think was the biggest offseason transaction? Is the way I'll ask it. So players coming in, players going out.
Are you talking about in coming in or both?
I wrote it as incoming, but I will let you go either way if you want to.
So I'll say incoming. I think it pretty simple for me would be Luka coming in is probably the biggest transaction that we had. And one, I think it came out of really nowhere. No one really had it on their radar to be like, oh, we're gonna upgrade that 8 position and get someone that was pretty damn good and started in San Diego and has U.S. men's national team caps appearances, and like we'll just do that. So, the last 8 that had U.S. men's national team appearances didn't work out so well for us. So hopefully this one does a little bit better. But I think that was the biggest incoming transfer I think that we had. Outgoing, I think obviously would be Melanda. I say that because Pat obviously was a big hit going into last season, but like that was like middle of the season. We rolled with it. Tokomati stepped up. We adapted. We didn't play games last year without Melanda because of the transfer. So it took place after the season ended, and we've yet to see what the lasting impact of that will be. So I think that's the biggest outgoing transfer that we've had between the two.
Yeah, no, I agree with those two. As far as mine, I would say is getting BL on a permanent basis.
Oh, that's true.
I know it's not necessarily a new addition. I know Matt kind of was talking about last episode how you got to think about him as a new addition, but like I think just locking him down to be like this is not a loan where we're kind of extending it, every 6 months or whatever. Like we've got him locked in as a DP and on this squad, and we can grow from there. I think I don't expect him to immediately recreate what he did at the beginning of last season. But I
expect it. I'm joking. I need him to.
But the way he was playing last season before he got hurt was just put this team on another level. And so I think locking him down is huge. And I think to your point, bringing in someone like De La Torre to also support in that midfield is going to open things up for him as well too. So I think bringing him in on a permanent basis was massive. So, but otherwise, I agree with you on yours as well.
Look at you with the semantics of that is technically a transfer.
Technically, an off-season transaction. That's why I wrote it that way, knowing that was what the answer I was going to have. Is I framed it a very specific way.
That's great. So, I loved
it. Player or coach under the most pressure this season?
Coach, we're gonna say Dean. No, I'm just joking. I'm gonna say Abada. I think that's everyone's just initial gut reaction. You've got a DP designated player here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say Abada, and then I'm gonna say the other person that has a lot of pressure is gonna be Zoran. And I'm gonna say this way.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a summer window transfer coming up where Wilfred Zaha's loan ends. So you got to figure out what you're going to do with Zaha. Last year, you had people knocking on your door for Vargas. You've got a DP that is underperforming in Abada at the same position. So the next 6 months, what's the pressure going to be, and what's going to be those winger positions look like for Charlotte come the summer? So I think Abada has a lot of pressure to define what his future looks like for here or for somewhere else. And then Zoran's got the pressure of what does that look like for Wilfred Zaha, Vargas, and Abada come June, July, August.
Yeah.
So there's my two.
That's a great answer. I mean, I think Abada was kind of the obvious answer there. So that's
I say that, and Zoran, don't listen and get mad at me for saying that. So you're welcome to come back on the show. Don't get mad at me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Zoran's a good shout. That's a very interesting one. And we, obviously I think Zoran's moves have
definitely
worked out. Like you've seen,
Agreed.
Like there've been some questions as things happen, and then you look at kind of how things have come together. And it's like he's built a roster that's steadily grown and gotten better each year. And we move on from mistakes and all that stuff.
Remember like 2 years ago, the Facebook group was like Zoran out, Cronetta out, like all this crazy stuff. And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
I mean, I'm sure those people still exist. I'm not sure even But no, I mean, I think that the player answer is Abada so obviously that I struggled to think of anyone else. Because like I figured you were gonna say that, so I was like, who else can I say just to have a different answer? And I literally could not think of another player that's anywhere close to the amount of pressure. I mean, like you could maybe say like there's pressure on BL now that he's a DP to like follow up on last season's performance, because like he wasn't taking up a DP slot last year. You know, there were kind of lower expectations. Like, let's just see how this goes for 6 months, and we'll go from there. And he exploded and did amazing. So maybe you could say him. Maybe whoever fills in for Malanda on the center back role. There's pressure there. But I think Abada's the pretty obvious answer there. So I guess the follow up is: do you think he steps up and does what we maybe expected him to do last year, or do you think we just see more of the same and he quietly drifts off into the night and the summer?
I think I hope he steps up, because I think, honestly speaking, even if it's not at Charlotte, his long-term future as a big name soccer player is at risk if he doesn't. Because he went from a team like from Celtic to us to kind of, I don't want to say rebrand or give himself more minutes and kind of set him up for another move in the future, but his time here has not gone according to plan. And could that, if he has an even worse first 6 months into the summer window, that could really just be detrimental to where he personally probably wants to go, right? So I think there's a lot of pressure there from that, just for him, for his sake. But I got a funny joke here for you about another pressure I just thought about. You ready for this one?
Sure.
It's the turf has the most pressure, sir, because we're hoping that no one else has any more hamstring issues going into the new season. So there's
Lord.
that's the third most pressure on the team. Everyone blame the turf. I'm just joking. Who knows?
The trainer, the athletic trainer.
Stop. It's all the trainer's fault. We'll do it.
Oh yeah, all the collective hamstrings,
all the
have the most pressure to not.
We have to make a chant or like bring some like dog toy hams to throw on the field if we have hamstring issues. Like like hockey with the squids. Like whatever it is, we just got to throw some hams on the field for the hamstrings.
I like it. I support it.
That's so good. Stupid.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but
I don't know. Who knows?
All right. Most valuable player. If you have to guess at the end of the season, who's going to be the one that's like, man, that guy was the reason in a positive way we are where we are.
God, I'm torn. I've got like 2 or 3 people I really want to win it, but I'm going to say Toklamati, because I think if he can be consistent, continue to grow, continue to score. I mean, you're talking about a guy that can score 15, 16 goals a season plus, you know what I mean? So like, I think that could be someone that'd be like, oh man, like that helped alleviate some pressure from the team. I would say a close second and third. I would say Zaha. And I'm going to say Kalina, because if Kalina has a good season, that's going to make the defense look a lot better too. So
yeah, those are good shouts. The one I was going to mention in addition to who you said is De La Torre, who we've talked about a lot. But I feel like we've talked about a lot on the show that like when we don't play well, it's that midfield that seems to break down. We're not good at moving the ball from our back line to our attackers. And so I'm hoping that having him to help kind of be that linchpin in the midfield to help build up the attack will be a big part of the success we have in that. I agree with you. I think Tokomati is another one. I mean, I think also we go as Kalina goes in some ways, when Kalina's hot, like everything else seems to kind of work. When he's not, things seem to fall apart. So I think those are other good ones too, but I really kind of lean on Luka being that most valuable player. When we look at it, may not show up on the stat sheet as much, but when you're just looking at the matches and being like, who's the guy who's making this happen, I could see it being him.
Start just tracking those progressive passes on FB Ref.
There you go.
Have
There
him
you
lead the
go.
way.
All right. So 2 related questions before we get into any listener questions that we have. I'm trying to decide which one to ask first. The 2 questions are: what does success look like to you, and where do we finish? I think I want to ask you, what does success look like to you for this season? Where if we walk away from the end of the season, you're like, yep, that was a good year.
I would say finish 4 or higher again, but this year don't rely on having to go like on a 10-game win streak to get to it. So,
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a 10-game win streak.
Well, I mean, true, but that was a very stressful time during the summertime for a little while there, where we were like, "What are we doing?" So, yeah, I mean, I think like we keep elevating and keep elevating and keep elevating expectations and getting better. And I think like I don't want to say our window's closing, because in soccer it's a little bit different. Like you can always reload and retool
Right.
so frequently and so quickly. But I would say with with the players like the Tim Reams, the Nathan Burns, the Ashley Westwoods, like this is kind of their window for success in MLS. So for me, like this year needs to be successful if we want to say like that core that we've had now for 2 or 3 years, um, before we start to retool long term for those kind of players, right? Because sooner than later, you're gonna have to replace Ream at center back. I mean, I think Nathan Bird could play another couple of years, but like you're going to be talking about what the Nathan Burns successor looks like. Who's going to be that number 6 for us as a successor for Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a good young core, BL, Tokomati, a few other players out there, but this core that we have now, I think the expectation is probably going to be 4th or higher, and that would be successful for me personally. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, my answer would be winning the first round series. I think that's like if I keep
That's a good answer. Yeah.
Like I keep looking at like what we were just talking about when we were talking about Zoran. It's like the team has just progressively grown each year. So first year just outside of the playoffs somehow when you look back at who's on that team. And all the coaching mess that was on that team.
Crazy. How did we sneak into the playoffs anyways with that? So
second year snuck into the playoffs of the playing game, got blown out. Third year, first round series, but didn't host. Fourth year, first round series, hosted, got that top 4 finish. And I feel like to me, the next step is win that first round series.
Get out of that series.
Get out of that series. And because it's hard to set goals after that, because like then you got like the one-off playoff games, which can be a kind of a crapshoot, right? But like a 3-game series, like I want this team to be good enough to go win a 3-game series, whether they're the home team or the away team, like whatever. Ideally, I think I'm with you. Like a top 4 is what we should be shooting for. But even if not, even for whatever reason, they're a 5 through 8 seed, right? Like fine. I think winning that playoff series is like the next step for this team, because they just have not played well in those playoff matches for the most part. So I think that's what I'd like to see next, is actually win a playoff series, and then after that, all bets are off. I think realistically, top 4 is where I'd like to see them finish in the standings, but ultimately make the playoffs and finally win that first series, get that off our backs, and then see where we can go from there. Because I agree with you. Like, I mean, we do have a good core group, but there are going to be some big pieces that are going to have to start kind of getting swapped out over the next few years. And so like,
and who knows what gets added or taken away during the summer window too. Like you could have some pretty big name players that go away in summertime. Vice versa, you have some big name players come in. So it'll be interesting because that World Cup, all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So that gets us to the actual question of our prediction on where we finish in the East. What do you think?
Undefeated, never lost. I'm gonna say 4th again, because I think Messi in Miami is always gonna be just hard team to play. And the East was so competitive last year, just with like how tight it was at times, and the East has been competitive. I feel like the past 2 years, pretty pretty close, right? So yeah, I would say fourth is where we finish. That's my prediction for him. So
yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Like just looking at, again, like you said, the teams that are up there.
Cincinnati, I mean Miami, Atlanta, and I hate to say that, like Atlanta's been a dumpster fire the last 2 years, but they've got some big name players, and they're starting to retool and get some younger guys in. They got a new coach again. Like, Atlanta's always potential there. You got Orlando that can go hot and cold. I mean,
Yeah.
there's there's teams that can just jump up on you and sneak up on you without realizing.
Yeah, I think it's hard to get above fourth. I think you're right. Yeah, just looking at these, and I expect also in a very similar way to past season, I expect like that third-ish through seventh or eighth to be like
Just to be tight,
super tight. And so like one result can knock you from, being a hosting as the third seed to traveling as the sixth seed. Like
I mean, I
I
don't know.
fully
I'd like
expect
to be.
that middle group to be pretty tight.
I'd like to be the West and be like a fourth seed and have like 5 games or 6 games separating us to from the bottom.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah, no, and I don't expect to see a whole lot of huge changes to that idea of like, yeah, I think that middle of the playoff pack is going to be really, really tight. So it could go a lot of different ways. All right, let's jump into some questions from our Discord. I'm going to pull these up. All right, Matt Nolan asks, who is the leading 2026 goal scorer? And he adds, other than the obvious Abada, who is taking the slot for Abada.
Poor Abada. I'm sorry, Leo. I'm sorry. That was, for the record, that was not me and Corey and Sco.
No.
So I'm gonna say, the easy answer is gonna be, I'm gonna say Toklomati. I think that's our leading goal scorer this year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that's. I mean, it could be. You make it.
It could be a Zaha, or
you make a case for
Biel.
Zaha. I mean, you can make a case for Biel. That's what I would go to too. But I think it's going to be Toklomati if I had to pick.
Agreed.
Which just makes the most sense. Did I see somewhere? I'm looking this up now. Let me see if I can find a confirmation of this. Did Toklomati get the number 9?
He did
jersey. So he gave 17 to De La Torre, and he's number 9. I kind of like that.
Correct.
That's fun.
It's fun.
So now he's got to live up to that.
He's got to live up to the hype. That's right. Yeah.
Score a bunch of goals. All right. Next from Chris, who will be the bigger surprise on defense? Morrison, Najiman, like we talked about, or Schnegg? He didn't say surprise, good or bad. So
I have to say, like, and he didn't mention like Privet or Ream or, I think David's going to be the. I mean, he said surprise. I think if you ask a lot of people, even 30 days ago, if Ajiman would make the roster, or it's not even been announced yet, or potentially that he is making the first team. So like, I think that player has been a surprise in just terms of minutes in preseason. You know what I mean? But I think David's gonna make some impact for us at left back this season. I think he's, when I was reading up on him a little bit in DC, he's a player that likes to push up a little bit, try to create something from the side and the wings. So obviously I want Harry to play as much as possible, but it's good to have a capable MLS starter back up another player like that. So
yeah, 100%. Let's kind of jump around here. So Matt Chantry, we didn't even talk about Fulham and Stoke on this.
I know, right?
God, it's brutal, just brutal.
I can't ever watch Fulham, man.
Look, so sorry for anybody who's like, why the hell are they talking about this now? Again, I'm a Stoke fan. David and Chantry, both Fulham people, and so that we had a small group text going on during the FA Cup match on Saturday, which Stoke just handed away on a platter. Classic way. Also classic, like at the beginning of the season, Stoke was like top 4 easy, cruising along, and now we're, I think, 14th.
Yeah.
So just doing the usual, Stoke in the championship falling apart after Christmas, and we'll see what happens. Anyway,
Stoke on Trent, baby.
I want to cancel my Paramount Plus subscription so I can. That's really all I'm trying
to do. That's what you look for most is when Stoke gets eliminated. And you're just like, I don't need to watch anymore.
I don't have to pay Paramount anymore. All right. Anyway, Matt Chantry, will Dean adapt our tactics slightly this year to try and be a little more possession based than before with the new personnel he has? My short answer is I hope so.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I hope so. I think you also look at what we have on the roster now, and especially in the midfield, kind of what you were alluding to earlier in the episode, with like Luca coming in and kind of being that linchpin as the 8, be more and help with that creativity in the midfield. You don't have essentially like a double pivoting 6 with Gianni and Westwood, and just leaving this big open no man's land between BL or Bronico up top. So, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a slower pace, but more possession style play, hopefully, versus, the boot it and sail it and hope Patrick makes a run on it first half of the season, kind of situation. Yeah. I'm more interested to see how we adapt defensively with Malanda out.
Yeah.
And having a Ream Privet or Ream Kessler kind of center back pairing. What do we kind of play defensively? Do we play a high line? Do we kind of sag back a little bit more? Like, what? I don't know. I'm interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, just like my philosophy on coaches when I watch it too is like, I always want a coach that is someone who adapts to who's in front of them. Because I think what you see when coaches get into trouble is they have a style of play that works, and then they get a lineup that doesn't fit that style, and they say, by God, we're going to play my style because it's my style.
Then you end up with the Brant Bronico at left back.
Right. I mean, you do really goofy stuff trying to force something that's not working. And I know it's like, it's hard. You don't want to totally move away from your identity as like, here's what I believe is the best tactics to go forward with. But like, you got to make little adjustments here and there to say like, okay, based on who we have now, we're going to tweak it. We're going to play a little bit differently because this plays to their players' strengths. It's where they feel comfortable. They're going to play better when they feel comfortable. And you see how that works out. We've definitely seen the opposite version of that in Charlotte. So
twice.
Again, and Dean's a smart guy. And so I hope he will, but like, yeah, I think you start to adjust and you say, okay, we've got some different pieces here. We can look at this a little bit differently. And approach the game differently. For Matt Jones, keeping on the Luca de la Torre theme here, can he be a replacement for Pep if needed? What does he look like at the 10? Trying to imagine what kind of versatility that gives us to match who we are playing or shift gears in the middle of the game. Dean is the best at that. And I think this is something we kind of talked about earlier, is that adding him on top of what we already had in that midfield really just starts to give us some flexibility, whether it be because of necessity, because of injuries and having to shift some things around, or to Matt's point here is like we base it on who we're playing or what kind of style we need to play. You can move De La Torre around a few different places based on kind of what you want to do, or whether BL is playing or where BL is playing, some things like that as well too. So like, yeah, I think he can be a replacement for Pep if Pep's either hurt or, playing in a different position for necessity. But yeah, I think there's just, again, assuming he plays the level we expect him to play and what we've seen some a little bit in preseason, I think again, it's just a really solid piece that allows us to be more flexible as we get deeper into the season and things inevitably happen.
Agreed.
All right. Paul H. Given the recent signings and current squad, what league club record would you like to see Charlotte FC break this season? And you gave some options as far as like most points, most wins, fewest goals against, etc.
I'm going to say most points for, so that way it helps us in our standings and breaks that record again. Right. So it'd be great be in the supporter shield race. So go for it.
I want to break most goals scored.
I want
to, I mean, not that I want to, I don't want to sacrifice defense.
You want
for
the greatest
this.
show on turf.
I want to be very clear that I don't want to like be winning games 4-3 constantly. But I would love to see us like throw in some more like 4-0, 4-1 wins and just be like a goal scoring machine with that attack. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think we started to see at the beginning of the season how prolific some of these players could be. And then, like you said, it kind of trailed off to the end. We got to the point where like we struggled to score anything when it got to playoff time. So I would love to see a team that is like scoring goals left and right, and breaking that record. Again, will that be good for us long term from a success standpoint? Who knows? But that's just, I think it'd be fun to see a team just scoring a bunch.
Agreed.
Related, Bryant's question: how many victories by the score of 5-0 do you think we'll have this year?
5-0. That's his chant. That's his song. I'm gonna say, let's put it on the first home game against Austin, and let's win 5-0 at home to start the season off. So put some money on it. In North Carolina, don't do that. This is not a gambling advice.
We're not.
We're not. If you have a gambling problem,
there's some disclaimer we got to say here. I don't know what it is, but it's like, don't trust us, basically.
Don't trust us. Don't come to me and say, I listened to you, bro. But no, like let's do it. I think we got pretty close one year. I remember I was in the supporter section there, but we got really close to getting that 5-0 win. But
I know we had the 4-0 against, was it Philly?
Yeah.
And wasn't that all 4 by
it's like I just
forgot his name.
God. Daniel Rios. Daniel Rios. Thank you. I'm like, wait a second. He's bounced around in the league quite a bit since then.
Yes.
So
Yes, that was a fun night. Let's see.
I just thought of a fun episode idea. We need to have a reminiscent episode and just pull up some year 1, year 2 players and just be like, Kamil Jóźwiak, where is he now? And just kind of just talk through that. So
related, where I thought you were going, that we should do. This is, again, would have been good off-season content. Had we actually done off-season content.
We'll do it next year. It's fine.
so pin this for next year or for a bonus episode. Would be to watch matches from the first season and record our reaction to them. Because I just can't imagine, I can't even think back to what it was like watching some of those teams
so bad
coached by MAR. What was happening? So I feel like that needs to be a series we do where we just go back and watch the first season and live record our reactions to those matches.
Yes.
I'm saying it on the podcast, so maybe we'll actually do it.
There you go.
We also said we're going to go watch you play Sunday soccer. So now you're closer. That's more likely.
First game is this Sunday in Charlotte, sir. So
all right, this is much more likely because you don't have to go to South Carolina for it.
Exactly. We play in Mitt Hill. I'll let you know.
All right, last question from good friend of the show, Charles. Glad to see we got him in Discord and asking questions. What role or opportunities do you see for Bai Koulibaly? I love saying that name. What opportunities do you see for him in the midfield this year? We've talked about how much we've added to the midfield and how much we have going on there. Do you see some opportunities for him to jump into and have an impact on the first team?
Well, I think we've mentioned a few times. I know Swift is also very passionate about that roadmap from Legacy to Charlotte FC. Like you've got the Toklamati, there's the Ajiman this past preseason that's working his way up from Legacy into that. You've got Neely, you've had Scardinia, you've had a couple of different players along that journey kind of come in. And so this is another player I think that, for him, I think it's kind of the Toklamati where it's kind of like, hey, we're going to stash a guy, kind of young, kind of raw. Let's hopefully develop him a little bit more. And I think he showed out a little bit at Legacy. Granted, I didn't watch a ton of Legacy matches this last year, but they brought him up to the first team roster for a reason. I think he's young enough. I think he could potentially get some minutes to kind of fill in, to be that 6 or 8 kind of backfill for us. Hopefully, fingers crossed. They probably look at him for the future with Westwood getting up there in age, and so we'll see what he does. But I think he's got an opportunity this season to make some minutes and make the most of the minutes he will get. But do I think he'll start anytime soon? I don't, unless there's some drastic injuries right away. But I think that's the plan with these Legacy guys: develop them, bring them up, and work them into when it sees fit.
Yeah, and he also asked a follow-up that we can kind of talk about when the answer to that Charles did, about kind of any contributions from Crown Legacy players. And we've talked about Morrison possibly coming up to bolster the defense. And There's some things like that too. But I think just in general, like that's what we really seen, to your point, be a strength of this organization is building up players, bringing them through that pipeline, and then having guys who come onto the scene starting for the first team and having a lot of success. So that's really, really impressive. We also, shouts out Rodolfo Loco, which I believe y'all talked about last week. So like, there's a lot of guys that like we could see depending on how some other current first team starters shake out, how, injuries happen, there's all kinds of unknowns kind of throughout the season, but it's nice to know that we have some of these players that can step in and have good professional experience, whether it's Crown Legacy or on loan somewhere else, to come in and have a real impact. So yeah, I think
And I'll just
it's a
add
real
to that,
strength.
like, and I know friend of the show, Jose Nunez, who covered Philadelphia Union for a long time and comes on whenever we can talk about Philly or soccer in general. But he was really big on Tommy Wilson, who joined in 2024, who's our technical director now. But that was really the Philadelphia pipeline, right? Was
Yeah,
identify young talent, bring them into the academy, develop them, bring them into the roster, and then you save on roster spend. It gives you more flexibility. And then if they're really good, you can sell them for a profit, which then helps you
totally.
build and bolster your roster long term. And I'll just throw this out there because I know this was just announced too. I didn't realize this. He's a Scotland native. And I don't know if you saw Corey, but for the World Cup, Scotland is going to be headquartered out of Charlotte FC for the World Cup. So look at that little segue and tie in there for that.
Fun. That's fun. Yeah, I didn't have a. We were kind of bouncing around questions. Keith did ask about with Scotland training here this summer, which Scottish player would you like to see us sign, and he said or kidnap if needed in the summer window. So yeah,
I'm not even going to act like I know very many Scottish players, Keith. So I apologize, but yeah, I think it's
cool.
I think it's cool. It's cool either way. So
absolutely. Wait, what's the Muppets question? Hold on.
Okay.
We're gonna end here because I think we're almost to an hour.
I think we're good. Yeah. So I'll pull it up. So it was like Paul asked the question, like with all of the amazing live action movies, TV shows, because I don't know if you noticed, that the Muppet Show came back for a one-time special recently on Disney Plus. And so his question is like encompassing all of the live action, all of the cartoons, the movies, whatever, who is your favorite Muppet and why?
Oh boy, do you have an answer to this? I don't know if I have strong Muppet opinions.
I love the Muppets.
I like the Muppets, but like I just know I'm not one of those that has watched like enough to know that if I have a strong opinion on this. So I'll let you go, and then I might.
Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a few, but I might go to just like right off the gut, Swedish Chef. Always like I love the Swedish Chef. The bork bork bork.
Yeah.
I just love the way that he talks. The human hands with the puppet is great.
Is
so
that is very good.
So that and Pepe, the he's really good too. He's funny. He cracks me up. So
that's good. I feel like my answer would probably be the old guys in the theater. This is the level of like I don't know their name, but I do really always enjoy those, and they're really easy to plug into like other things, So there's always like there's just a good trope to pull in is like throw them up on a balcony to riff on whatever's happening in front of them.
Correct. Yeah,
so that's very good. I need to watch the new Muppet special. I have not.
It was good. It was actually really good.
This I've heard good things about it.
I hope they make it into and hopefully it got enough views where they make it a new season of the show because it was great. Get some celebrities on there again. Get some folks come in. There were some nice cameos on it. It was good. It was good. It was a good old time.
Good. The other ones I'm thinking of, Beaker. I always liked Beaker.
Beaker was good. Yeah.
Animal playing drums always made me laugh. There's some good stuff. Yeah, we need to get back into some Muppets. I wonder how the girls would feel about Muppets at this point. There's certain things I tried to. Sorry, we're going to go on tangent in the last 5 minutes before you shut this down. I tried to have the girls watch Mr. Rogers because I love Mr. Rogers.
I love Mr. Rogers too. Yeah,
Mr. Rogers. And I didn't realize until I was watching it how slow that show is. Like, and I think this is a positive thing. It is a very slow show, and like they enjoyed it, but I feel like it was like they were like, "Why is he talking so slow?" Because they watch like the Spidey show and some other things. They also watch Daniel Tiger, which is like the modern cartoon version of Mr. Rogers, right?
Yeah.
So like they understand the Mr. Rogers thing, but even with that, I think there were times where they were like, he's still trying on that costume in the costume shop. Why is he still trying on the costume in the costume shop?
He's still untying his shoes.
He's still tying his shoes.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
makes me happy.
That show and just random Bob Ross was another show I would just have in the background and just listen and watch. Yeah.
I recently showed them Bob Ross as well because my oldest is very into art, and so I put up a Bob Ross episode, which was very entertaining. So the Bob Ross channel on like whatever free TV.
Yeah, they just have it on loop. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, that was in college. That was my go-to to put me to sleep. I would put like Bob Ross on YouTube and just.
It's very soothing.
Yeah.
That and the Supermarket Sweep channel. Love Supermarket Sweep.
I haven't watched that in a long time.
There's like a free channel that's just like
just looping that. That's great.
It's amazing. It's a good time.
That's awesome.
Just don't get too sad about the price of groceries then versus now.
It's like box of Cheerios, 25 cents. Great.
It was a different time. It was a different time. So
you got your whole shopping cart for $25.
Just ridiculous.
That's great.
I think we will leave it at that. Hopefully, again, y'all know us. Hopefully, later this week we'll be back with the preview episode with St. Louis.
We will. I will make sure. I'm gonna put on the record. We will be back. I will make.
David's saying definitely yes. So if it doesn't happen, you get mad at David, not me. I was putting some leeway in there.
No, I'm gonna make it happen. It's match week. We got this.
All right, we got this. So first match of the season, 2:30 on Saturday against St. Louis. We'll be talking more about it later in the week because soccer's back, baby. I'm so excited. Yes. I'm gonna go buy the new jersey and get ready for Saturday.
There you go.
And we'll
get the shorts and the socks with it too, man. Be a full kit.
Can't go full kit. For the first time, I did consider should I get a name on the back. Once I got the name on the back of the Lightning kit, which is the first time I've ever gotten a name on the back of a jersey, I was like, should I do it again? And I'm like, no, because this jersey is already too much money, so I'm not going to pay.
I've only got Bronico, and then so I got Bronico on the original kit, the mint kit, and then the Explorer. I'm sorry, I take that back. And then I've got on the Explorer kit, I got Ream, and then the Lightning kit, I got BL. So like
you've picked good ones. You've really picked good ones. I love seeing people with jerseys where I'm like, oh, that was an unfortunate choice made on that jersey. Yeah. So you've made some good choices.
You want to, and I'll leave it this at the way to tease the upcoming preview episode. You want to talk about unfortunate events. You go back and watch that St. Louis City game because I was pre-watching that just to kind of talk through what the last time he played. Go look at that starting 11 for Charlotte FC. Man, let me tell you, it is a roster of players that you're like, wow, we've come a long way. Nuno Santos made some minutes for this, I think. So it's.
Tell you, we need to rewatch some of those first and second season matches and just realize how good we have it now.
We have it real good.
Maybe that's what we do it as timing wise is when we start having sad times during the season, like the way. Like instead of like trying, well, we also ask y'all for funny questions to take us out of the sad times, but maybe the other way is like look back at how bad it was before and like it could be worse, guys. We could be starting.
Could take us 3 games to get our first goal, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Or 2 games to get our first goal.
Could always be worse. All right. Well, if you aren't already, check out our Patreon to join our Discord. Where we chat about all kinds of things and you can submit questions.
We're going to be doing soccer and coffee on Saturday, by the way.
Soccer and coffee on Saturday. So all the fun things there. It's super cheap, but it helps support the show and helps us keep doing this. So now's a good time to get into that so you can get ready for the season and all the fun and all the conversations that'll be happening in the Discord there. So check that out. Yeah. It'll be in the show notes, but if you go to Patreon and search Mint City Soccer Show, it'll pop up, I'm sure. So
and we've got some more questions, I think, too, that we'll save for Thursday as well for the matchup game. So we got a few more questions, I think.
Sweet. All right, sounds good. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.